church that is so big and that was built so many years ago. It's just indescribable beyond words.
Canterbury Cathedral is truly awe-inspiring. It is, to begin with, massive. It's also very beautiful and very special.
It is special because it is the seat of the Archbishop of Canterbury, and by virtue of that is the mother church of the Anglican Communion throughout the world.
However, it is another and more ancient Archbishop of Canterbury, one Thomas Beckett, who was murdered in the cathedral in 1170, who has dominated and continues to dominate not only the cathedral, but the history of the entire city. The story is well known, how Thomas, a great friend of the king's, fell out with him over the division of power between church and state. How in frustration King Henry shouted, "Will anyone rid me of this upstart priest?" And how the call was answered by a party of 4 knights who pursued Becket into the church, where he refused to lock the doors to keep them out. Canon Peter Brett, the man responsible for visitor care at Canterbury Cathedral, takes up the story.
Then the knights burst in and confronted him. Again, there was a row between them. He was a big man, and we're not quite sure just how physical he got about it, but there are those who think he got quite physical. Anyway, in the end, they cut him down, and the last words that he spoke were, "I die for Jesus and for his church." It said that a servant came back in fairly soon afterwards and stirred the brains, which had been exposed by the scalp being cut off, and spattered them about and said, "Now this fellow be truly dead." And very soon after that, people were coming into the cathedral to dip handkerchiefs in the blood and take them away as relics.
Becket had previously been regarded by his clergy as more a man of the world than a man of the church. He loved riding, hawking, the pursuits of the royalty of the day. But as his colleagues began removing his robes and preparing him for burial, they were surprised at what they found.
And then they went further and found this extraordinary phenomenon, which was the hair shirt, which wasn't only a thing horrible enough in itself, scratching and making life miserable for whoever wore such a thing. And according to the asceticism of the day, being a way of keeping one's attention on God, but also it was crawling with lice and other strange creatures, which showed that the thing must have been absolutely filthy. And how a person could have lived wearing such a thing is very difficult to know. All one can think is that he was in a constant state of penitence, not only for himself and his own way of life, but also for the world, and his prayer for the world was a penitential prayer.
And thus began the myth and legend, based of course in reality, that made Canterbury the great destination of pilgrims for many centuries. Indeed, it is still so today. Canterbury also has a surprising American connection.
Hello friendships, welcome to my YouTube channel. Come join me with my pilgrimage and tour of Canterbury Cathedral in Kent, United Kingdom, following the footsteps of the pilgrims from the Canterbury Tales. This is just for fun, no bashing, alright? So we start our pilgrimage, if you're coming from London, by going to St. Pancras International train station, and you go to platform 12, and you take the train going to Margate. And you can also take the train that goes to Stanford International, and you can take the train there going to Canterbury West. So if you take the train in platform 12 going to Margate, you will need to step down at Canterbury West. And the train ride takes about an hour. So that's me on the train, and that's just a video of a train that's about to come in.
Beckett International.
So we have arrived at Canterbury West train station. So Canterbury Cathedral is just a 12 minutes walk from Canterbury West train station. You have several options. The first option is you can take a taxi, an Uber, Bolt, or the bus, or you can walk. Walking is good because aside from you save money, you're able to enjoy the sight, the new things that you can see while you're on the road.
So we walk from there.
And it's just amazing that there's the Japanese store there. There's the Sainsbury and sort of old English style buildings. So I'm starting the walk there. And halfway through, you'll be able to see the gate, the Bishop's Gate, if I'm correct of it. You can see the gate there, the two towers. So I stop and look around and what are the things that I can buy or to do, or maybe I need to buy some foods later. So I went and have a look around. So after losing my phone, I'm just glad that I have an insurance and it was replaced immediately. I was still traumatized by the event because imagine losing your phone because someone snatched it and the chance that someone might be able to get your information. So what happened was, instead of using a gimbal to stabilize and to make it easier for me to shoot, I just decided to hold the phone. So this is me holding the phone and adjusting the video. So this is the gate. So in ancient times, this gate is drawbridge operated. So that's a selfie of me. And the next video is just me cruising the street. Okay, so I was cruising and I just crossed the street. So there used to be a drawbridge here. As you can see here, I am walking to the Canterbury Cathedral. I'm halfway through. So it's better to walk if you're a tourist. So you'll be able to explore the surroundings and get to have a feel of what the place is. And I do apologize if you hear me in the video trying to narrate and explain things. I did try speaking in the video, so I will not do some voiceover. But I did realize that it's quite hard to shoot and try to make up a sensible or a very nicely presented set of words while holding the camera and thinking what to shoot. So if you can see, this is me going to this. It's a bit, there's a narrow alley from the main road that you need to walk through going to Canterbury Cathedral. And there's all sorts of shops there, souvenir shops, and there's also a Harry Potter shop because a scene in Harry Potter inside Hogwarts was shoot inside Canterbury Cathedral. I will show that to you later. So what will happen is, once you arrive in front Canterbury Cathedral, you will need to go to like the visitor center or the admission center because admission is not for free. So before we go through that, I have passed through the memorial here. The memorial is showing people from Kent, or it's memorializing those who have offered their lives in the service of the people of the United Kingdom in the last two world wars. So this is the main entrance to the Canterbury Cathedral, which is currently the seat of the Anglican Communion. So just beside that gate is the admission, wherein you need to pay £15. So those are the books. So I paid £15.50 and then an additional £5 for the guided tour, which is quite worth it. However, I don't have that recorded on the video.
Hiya. I'm just passing by, but there's something that smells good. What is it?
It's probably
Okay.
soaps and candles.
Okay. I'll pass by this later. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah.
For any particular reason?
Just for my blog.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
I was not able to record the guided tour because the tour guide did not want me to record it. And it's a good way also to just enjoy the tour, the guided tour as it is, rather than holding a video. Anyway, once the guided tour is over, you can go back over and over again
in order to come in.
to the sites
Actually,
where
it's
you would like to
15.50
take a picture.
for
And
a
talking
whole
about
ticket for
the
valid for 1 year.
entrance fee, the entrance fee that you pay
£5 for the guided
is
tour.
valid for 1 year. If you're living nearby or you live in London, so you can come back at another part of the year
Going on for years now.
to
When I last first online, so
and present that so that you can come in without paying anything. So here's a shot of how much I paid. So, way back then, when St. Thomas Beckett was giving favors, like through miracles, through the people to the people. So, what happened was Canterbury was flocked by lots of people from all over England and the known world, so that they can have a pilgrimage and ask St. Thomas Beckett for a favor to get healed and several other things. And some of it is recorded on the old stained glass. The stained glass of this place is quite old, and this footage is the footage of showing but the priors who were managing the cathedral starting from the early 930s, not 930s, 820s. So that's about almost a thousand years old, or more than 1,000 years old. So I was waiting for the start of the tour. So the tour starts at several times. There's a 10:30 tour. There's one that starts at around 12:30. And there's a tour at around, is that 4:30? If I'm not sure if my memory serves me right, but I'm sure with the 10:30 and the 12:30 tour. So this is the baptismal fountain. And do you know the reason why there's a cover? The reason that there's a cover is that because people in the medieval ages believed that holy water can be corrupted by witches. So in order for witches or people to stop using holy water in an inappropriate means, they put a cover over it. So there are several kings and high-profile person in English histories that were buried here. The Black Prince was buried here, and the cardinal that advised the king to go to battle in the Battle of Agincourt, which we have won against the French at the cost of too many English lives. But at least we won. But yeah, later he lamented about his decision to urge the king to go to war because of the many loss of lives. So I'm here waiting for the start of the tour. And while waiting for the start of the tour, I took some shots. And if you can see the video a while ago, is a video showing the pulpit. So it's because back then there's no microphone, so they used to climb that elevated pulpit so as to help people hear their voice much better. So we're waiting here for the start of the guided tour. This is the tomb of the archbishop who urged the king to go to war against France in the Battle of Agincourt, which we have won. And again, as I mentioned earlier, he lamented because it caused a loss. A lot of lives were lost on both sides. And yeah, this is the inner sanctuary. There are dead bodies inside these tombs. Most often, they're placed inside a tightly sealed lead coffin and put inside that effigy or that crypt with the effigy on top. What you're seeing here is chalices that were used in Canterbury from the year 1100s, 1300s, 1500s, and some as early as when the cathedral was open.
This is where St.Thomas Beckett was.
In this video, I am showing you the place of the martyrdom of St. Thomas Becket.
So in this area,
So that in that altar, they said that St. Thomas Becket
there used to be
was killed. And also on that chair, Pope John Paul II
St. Thomas Becket
knelt
clung.
when he visited this cathedral and when he prayed.
This is the
Pope John Paul II is now a saint, Saint John Paul the Great. And this specific door, is where St. Thomas Becket entered in order to seek sanctuary inside the church against the knights who is trying to arrest him. And in this video, I was struggling to open the door. I was struggling to open the door. I was holding the phone and okay, sorry about that. I was trying to close the door. And on this side, you can see that this is where Harry Potter was shot.
Where Harry Potter was shot.
The scene
Yeah.
in the Hogwarts School
This is
of
where the
Wizardry.
Hogwarts scene is.
So this is where they showed it. Just this part. And a selfie of me just capturing that moment where Hogwarts was shot or based.
So this is
And this is a
Canterbury,
video of what's outside the cathedral.
a once Catholic cathedral, but after the So this is currently the seat of the Archbishop of Canterbury for the Anglican Church. And this is where St.Thomas Beckett was martyred. And way back then, during the medieval ages, people will come here from all over the world, in London, some from London, to do a pilgrimage to ask for St. Thomas's intercession. St. Thomas of Canterbury.
On my way home, I visited the Canterbury Pilgrims Hospital. So this hospital was open to accommodate the destitute, the poor pilgrims, so that they have somewhere to stay when Canterbury was a famous pilgrimage site. And despite the pilgrimage site ceasing when King Henry initiated the English Reformation, this became an almshouse, meaning this accepts people who are
This was built in honor
quite
of
poor, dying, hungry,
Geoffrey
nowhere to
Chaucer,
stay.
the writer of the Canterbury
And
Tales.
I just segue to the monument of Geoffrey Chaucer, the writer of the Canterbury Tales. So next is, it's just a shot showing what's inside the hospital. So this is a chapel inside the hospital of St. Thomas. And so I walked going back to the train station. It's also a good way of reviewing what I have passed by. So I really like the view of the river, the moat. And I also have a photo of the things that I brought from Canterbury.